Hey, it's Mrs. Stewart back with part 2 of our absolute value inequalities videos. If you need to go back and review part 1 kind of shows the basics and starts off real slow as to what an absolute value inequality is. Part 2 is just going to get right into the examples and just practice a little bit more. So this example says the absolute value of x minus 4 is greater than or equal to 2. This means x minus 4 is more than 2 units from 0 or equal to 2 units from 0. So we're talking about the values that are greater than or equal to 2 or less than or equal to negative 2. So you've set up your two inequalities and now we solve using inverse operations. I'll add 4 to both sides to leave x by itself, and that gives me 6. So by itself, that means that we could include 6 and everything to the right, or everything larger than 6. Now I'm going to solve the second one. Negative 2 plus 4 is positive 2. So I'm getting x is less than or equal to 2. So I would have a closed circle on 2 because we're going to include the 2 and shade everything to the left. And so there is our solution set. And so typically we write this, x is greater than or equal to 6. We always use the word or, and then x is less than or equal to 2 because your solution won't need to meet both conditions. It could be in either green area to be considered a solution. Okay, now I want to take a look at an example that has a number on the outside of the absolute value. Here you can see you have an absolute value and then you have plus 4. So you need to remember the first thing we do always is isolate the absolute value. So what does that mean? It means we've got to move that 4 first before we begin the process we just went through. So notice how the 4 is on the outside. We need to move it first. Okay, so that brings down the absolute value of x plus 1. And when you do 6 minus 4 on the right, you get 2. So now you've got that absolute value by itself. And now we're going to go ahead with the steps that we just took. The absolute value of x plus 1 is less than 2 means x plus 1 is less than 2 and also greater than negative 2. You're going to notice two things happening here. The sign is flipping in the second one and I'm adding a negative sign. Now I will solve both of these. The first one's going to give me x is less than 1. So by itself, I would have an open circle on 1, and my shading would be to the left, everything less than 1. But I do have another condition I'll have to consider. So when I solve the second one, I get x is greater than negative 3. So by itself, that would mean not negative 3, open circle, but shading to the right. Because we use the word and here, we're looking for solutions that fit both conditions. We're looking for where you see green and pink. So we're right here in the middle. So we cut off our graph and we only include the solutions that met both conditions. So between negative 3 and positive 1. And we typically write this answer in one statement. Negative 3 is less than x, which is less than 1, meaning x is between negative 3 and positive 1. So I'm going to do one more example here. This one's got a little bit more going on the outside of the absolute value. So we're going to have to work on all that first. So we isolate the absolute value, same as before. Okay, so what I need to do first is add the 6 to both sides. And that will eliminate your 6's. And when I combine on the right, negative 16 plus 6 gives me negative 10. Now I'm not done with this because I still have that negative 2 on the outside, and it's being multiplied by the absolute value. So now I'm going to divide both sides by negative 2 because I need to eliminate those negative 2's on the left. Please notice you are dividing by, an inequality by a negative number. So if you go back to the inequality lessons, you remember, hopefully, when you divide by a negative number, you have to reverse the direction of the inequality sign. So I'll be doing that. Okay, so I have my absolute value by itself. Again, reversing the direction of the inequality sign. Now it's greater than. Negative 10 divided by negative 2 is 5. So we have everything moved that was on the outside of the absolute value, and now I'm ready to solve the absolute value. So I take the absolute value of x minus 4 is greater than 5, and I split it up. X minus 4 is greater than 5. Because it's a greater than, I use the word or. X minus 4, and then those two things happen. My sign flips, and I add the negative. So now I have my two inequalities, which I need to solve. The first one's going to give me x is greater than 9. So that's an open circle at 9 and shading everything to the right, everything greater than. The second one, I add my 4 to both sides. I get x is less than -1. So that's an open circle on -1. Less than is to the left. Because this was the word or, solutions can fall in either area. They don't need to fit both conditions. So we typically write our answer x is greater than 9 or x is less than -1. And again, here's the graph. So that should do it. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Hopefully you learned something. Click like and subscribe. If you're interested in the unit that goes along with the video, just click the link below. Thanks so much for watching.